stay away from that question. But if they ask about it, you want to say, take your approval letter and bring it to your CPA. People think that just because they're doing a short sale, like everything's going to be hunky-dory and they may not have to owe those taxes. Or some other people think, oh, well, I don't want to owe those taxes, I'm just going to let it go to foreclosure. Well, then you're dealing with a different problem. They could come after you for the entire balance of what's owed at a fire sale price, whatever they didn't get at auction, or they can still forgive the debt afterwards there. So you're in the same situation, it's just which one do you have control of. They may ask for a cash or note contribution at closing. Freddie and Fannie can't ask for that based on the seller's income. I can usually tell that right up front when I sit down and look at their income, and if they have a steady job. It's usually not a crazy amount of money, but they may ask for a seller contribution at closing, and if they do ask for the seller contribution at closing, they will not give the $3,000 moving incentive. And it must be listed, as I said earlier, for a minimum of 5 days. So I'm going to jump over to FHA. FHA, when someone is talking about long short sales, the 2-year, the 3-year, the 1-year short sales, it's likely an FHA short sale. They're just cumbersome in paperwork, they're slow to respond to you. Unfortunately, this is the one short sale that is long. The good thing about an FHA short sale is they will give you a copy of the appraisal. Not every lender will give you a copy of the valuation on the property. So if they come out to value the property and you want to know what that valuation is, they'll give you that copy. They will pay you $3,000 also in a moving incentive. So there's a borrower relocation incentive they can get at closing if the homeowner is living in the property.
During that 2 or 3 years, do people stay living in there without making payments?
Correct. On an FHA short sale, this is an unwritten guideline, unwritten. So you're not going to hear it again unless you heard it here. If it's over 40 months past due, they're going to let it go to foreclosure. So it is not a written guideline you'll find anywhere on their website, but I've talked to multiple people up high at HUD. If it's over 40 months past due, it's not worth them trying to save or keep or doing a short sale on. And this is new in the last year. So it's not something that has been traditionally for them. Usually you could do a 7-year short sale.
So they had people camping out in there for 7 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've done them.
Is that $3,000 moving expense incentive for the buyers who are buying it, or for the sellers to come out so they can sell it?
Seller. It goes to the seller at closing a check. They will pay $1,500 to a junior lien, sometimes higher, up to $3,000, and it has to be on the market a minimum of 15 days. So an FHA short sale has to be on 15 days for you guys before you can take an offer. And here's the kicker on that one. It usually has to be on 15 days after they've already appraised the property. So they have to come in, appraise the property, set a price, and then they're going to issue the amount they need. And then at that point, it has to be on the market 15 days, unless the buyer's offer is much higher than their appraisal price. Then they waive that. And it has to net the servicer 84 to 88% of the appraised value. This is the only short sale that you'll always know the numbers that you have to work with. It's really a great program in that sense. FHA, traditional short sales, and reverse mortgage short sales are the only short sales you'll know the number all the time that you have to get. Fannie Mae requires a 2-step process. So Fannie Mae may be the investor of the loan. It could be a Chase loan, a Bank of America loan, a Wells Fargo loan, a Ditech loan, a Bayview loan, but once you submit it to one of the servicers, you also have to submit it on their website. So it's a 2-step process for you guys. Keep that in mind. And their website is Home Path for Short Sales. And basically the two, once both are working, once you've submitted everything to the servicer and everything to Fannie Mae now starts checking in on the servicer progress. Where to find guidelines. These are some extra websites here for you to set up and find guidelines. So whether you need to list it 5 days or 15 days, you can find that on these websites here. So before you list your property, we typically pull title. Why would it be important for you to pull title?
See what liens are on it.
So if you, I'm not an expert in title. We work with a title company, but I can eyeball by going to the registry of deeds and say, hey, I noticed that there's an execution here on title. Can you tell me about that? That is a cloud on the title. So if there's an execution for $15,000 to a credit card company because they didn't pay a bill, the buyer can't buy that property until that lien is released. So as a negotiator, as you are a listing agent, if you're gonna negotiate your short sale, you have to negotiate that execution off title in addition to the mortgage. So it's really important that you have the title up front. You wanna be able to see exactly what you have to pay. And sometimes, well, many times, the lenders don't allow this out of proceeds. So if you have a $15,000 credit card lien that you've now negotiated down to $2,000, that doesn't always come out of proceeds. Sometimes they don't allow it. Fannie Mae does not allow personal debt out of their proceeds of their sale. So how do you get it? This is why you do it up front. You do it up front so that you can set your listing appointment up. You set your listing up appropriately, because you don't want to pay the $2,000, right? So who's the only other person at this point that would be able to pay the $2,000? Buyer. So they could potentially reduce their offer to the primary lender, that $2,000. So you've got $300,000 property. The buyer now knows that they have to bring $2,000 at closing. Maybe their offer to the first mortgage holder is $298.
I don't know if it's for her, but let's say that you go to a third-party short sale mitigator company.
Yep.
There's a fee.
Right.
Nobody works for free.
Right.
Who pays them? If that's not included, then who covers that fee? Who covers-
Well, every mitigator charges differently. So I know a mitigator that charges you commission,
Yep.
right? So then you might have to save 1% or 2% out of your commission to pay a short sale negotiator. I know some negotiators like us that we charge the buyer, and it's disclosed right onto the listing. I've seen other ways, other creative ways that it's charged. On a rare occasion, I've seen a seller pay it if they actually have money, and again, I would say that's a very rare occasion. So anytime you have a third party involved in your mix, that should be disclosed in your listing. So if there's a third party somewhere that has to work on your file or is working on the file, let's say you don't want to negotiate, you don't want to spend the extra time to do the negotiation, you bring in another company